Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. I'd like to take you on an exploration of a remarkable advance in robotics and autonomous transport, the rise of Robotaxis, self-driving fleets, and how XPeng Incorporated is pushing the frontier in partnership with Alibaba Group Holding Limited via its mapping arm Amap, Gouda. We'll refer to them simply as XPeng and Amap for brevity. At its heart, the narrative is about robots, not humanoid machines, but autonomous vehicles operating as robotic mobility services, vehicles that think, sense, act, and eventually carry us where we want to go without a human driver. Robotics in this sense is the fusion of artificial intelligence, sensor systems, cloud connectivity, and mobility platforms. The Robotaxi is a robot in motion, and XPeng's recent announcements mark a meaningful step toward that future. Earlier this week, XPeng announced that it will team up with Alibaba's Amap to launch a Robotaxi service, a commercial deployment of self-driving vehicles, with 3 self-developed Robotaxi models and trial operations scheduled for 2026. Reuters, the vehicles will be integrated into Amap's ride-hailing ecosystem, and XPeng also stated a longer-term goal of building a global Robotaxi network. Investing.com. Let's unpack this in 3 major parts. 1. Why Robotaxi systems matter and what constitutes a robot. 2. What XPeng's announcement signals for robotics and mobility. And 3. What to watch and what it means for society. 1. Why Robotaxis matter. Robots on the move. We tend to think of robots as articulated arms in factories, humanoids, or independent machines. But in many ways, an autonomous vehicle that drives, senses its environment, plans its route, picks up passengers, and drops them off is a robot. It carries sensors like LiDAR or radar or cameras. It uses local AI to interpret the world. It uses actuators to steer, brake, accelerate, and it connects to cloud brains for mapping, traffic information, fleet optimization. Robotaxis matter for several reasons. They promise a radical reshaping of mobility. Fewer human drivers needed, vehicle fleets optimized for availability rather than ownership, and transport turned into a service rather than a personal asset. They are a robotic scale play. Deploying thousands of autonomous units means robots ceasing to be novelty and becoming infrastructure. They integrate many robotics elements: perception, planning, control, communications, fleet orchestration, a high-level robotics problem. They intersect artificial intelligence and hardware deeply. High compute, TOPS, trillion operations per second, advanced chips, real-time inference in dynamic environments. XPeng's Robotaxi ambition places it squarely in this realm of robotics. They are not simply offering an assistive driving system, but vehicles that operate autonomously as part of a service network. That means moving from assisted driving, where human drivers remain responsible, to driverless operations, where the robot, the machine, becomes the operator. 2. XPeng's announcement: Robotics in motion. XPeng's plan is bold. By launching 3 Robotaxi models in 2026, fully integrated with Amap's ride-hailing platform, they are betting on a future where their vehicles operate autonomously at scale. According to reports, these models will incorporate in-house developed Turing AI chips, delivering up to 3,000 TOPS of computing power, and will employ their second-generation VLA, Vision Language Action, model for adaptive operation across global traffic patterns, and notably will not rely heavily on high-definition maps, thereby enabling more scalable deployment. CNEV Post. This is robotics in a real-world context. Hardware, sensors, software stack, fleet operations, service interface, user experience, all converging. The partnership with Amap gives them access to mapping, ride-hailing integration, and transactional readiness. The idea of creating a global Robotaxi network signals an ambition to scale beyond China. From a robotics perspective, key elements stand out. Custom hardware, AI chips. The AI brain of the Robotaxi is critical. XPeng's investment in their own chips shows robotics is not just software, but bespoke embedded systems. Sensor fusion and autonomy stack, cameras, radars, LiDARs, mapping, real-time decision-making. The car must behave like a robot in an open, unpredictable environment. Fleet orchestration and service model, more than one robot, many robots coordinated, dynamic dispatch, monitoring, maintenance, user interface, robotics as service. Scalability and cost. For Robotaxi to become mainstream, cost per unit, cost per ride, reliability, and safety thresholds must meet fleet economics. The robot must be efficient. XPeng's timeline and scale indicate that robotics is entering commercial deployment phase. The step from prototypes to fleets is the leap from robotics research to robotics infrastructure. 3. What to watch and what it means. As we observe this robotics evolution, there are multiple dimensions to follow. Safety and regulation. Autonomous vehicles remain robots moving in public space. The safety thresholds must be higher than novelty. Policymakers in China and globally are balancing innovation with caution. For example, China has introduced new rules for assisted driving systems, highlighting that while they push innovation, they also aim to ensure safe deployment. Reuters. Technological readiness and edge cases. Real-world driving involves edge cases, poor weather, unpredictable pedestrians, regulatory variations. The Robotaxi must handle them reliably. The announcement by XPeng suggests readiness, but the actual operations in 2026 will test readiness. Business model and scale economics. Robotics is expensive. Hardware, sensors, compute, software updates, fleet maintenance, all add cost. For Robotaxi to be viable, cost per ride must undercut human-driven alternatives long-term. User experience and acceptance. People may trust a robot to drive them if the service is reliable, safe, clean, comfortable. The transition from car with driver to robot drives me is as much social as technological. Global scale and competition. XPeng is planning a global network. The robotics race is global. Other players, such as Waymo in the US, others in Europe and China, are competing. Scaling robotics across geographies involves regulatory, cultural, technological, and operational complexity. Robotics ecosystem. The Robotaxi is just one robot form. The chips, sensors, fleet management systems, autonomy software developed here will spill into other robotic domains. Delivery robots, warehouse robots, flying cars, service robots. The Robotaxi is a frontier. Conclusion. In closing, robotics is no longer confined to industrial arms, isolated labs, or sci-fi dreams. It has rolled out, literally, onto our roads. The Robotaxi represents a confluence of robotics, AI, mobility, and service platform. XPeng's announcement of its Robotaxi partnership with Amap is both a milestone and a signpost. The robotics future is here in motion, and soon we may ride as passengers in fleets of robots. When we think of robots, we often think of motionless machines, but the Robotaxi is different. It is motion embodied. It is a robot you ride in. Its sensors, brains, and actuators transport you. It is physical, mobile, intelligent. The questions we face: will the robot be safe? Will the robot be reliable? Will costs fall? Will society accept it? Will we become passengers of machines rather than drivers? The answers will unfold in the coming years. But the direction is clear. Robotics is driving mobility. The vehicle is more than chassis and engine. It is a robot. And the companies preparing for that future are not simply automakers. They are robotics platforms. The ride is starting. And if all goes well, the next time you summon a vehicle through your phone, it might arrive not with a driver, but as a robot. And then you will see, firsthand, what robotics means when it picks you up and takes you where you need to go. Thank you.